Hey everyone, Cholera with Rise and Kenny. We've all just eaten some dinner so we can go and have the energy to cast this last game, Jangbi versus Nada, fifth set, the last set of their best of five. And I gotta say, this has been a great series so far. Well, it's been one real game followed by three proxies. Let's review. Second game, Proxy Gateway wins the game. Third game, Proxy Robo. Fourth game, Proxy Factory. So whoever's gone for the proxy has won. But do you think we're going to see it again here on Byzantium, or do you think maybe we'll see some standard play?
I can only imagine in the last set of a 5-set match, which we are at 2-2, all right. I can only imagine that both players are going to play standard. And really, we saw a very standard game here. And this is the map that Nada first won on in Byzantium. I mean, he did the flash build, and it worked out very well. So certainly, Jangbi maybe had a little bit of time to think about what he's going to do in response to what Nada did last time. Or maybe he won't. I don't know. But either way, I think, this is a great map for just a really solid game, and I can't wait to see what these players come out with. And by the way, I had bruschetta for dinner. It was fantastic.
Well, that's awesome, Rise, because I had some leftover Papa John's breadsticks, which probably wasn't near as good as that. So I hope that you enjoyed that. So anyways, like Colin said earlier, we've had some interesting games, really just a whole bunch of proxying going on. But we are back to Byzantium 2, and I do expect both players to play pretty standard because this is it. I mean, this is who decides to win this series, and I really have to say, it's been back and forth, both players with some amazing, really cool play, I have to say. Again, though, Byzantium being a really good early pressure map for Protoss, so I think Nada's going to have to play very standard and very safely again, and if he does, he could come out with that same type of victory as he had in Game 1, which is very decisive and seemed pretty easy for him overall. So let's hope to see Nada, play some of that similar style play, but again, who knows?
Yeah, I find it interesting that while all three of us predicted that Nada would prefer the short game, it seems that Jangbi, in games 2 and 3, forced a short game against Nada by going for those two proxies, and he's the one who's actually been winning the three short games. I'm sorry, the two short games he won, and he didn't win the long game. Nada actually managed to out macro him on this map. Now you can argue that in the first game, Jangbi went for a fast tech build, and he didn't do any damage, which is exactly what happened. And that might make a difference here in this game. If Jangbi decides not to go for a fast tech build, a fast Reaver build, a fast 2-gate into Reavers like he was doing then, he can go for a fast expand pretty safely also. And then we can see truly what a what a macro beast Jangbi is, and if Nada can keep up. Looks like both players are going to start off standard here, and both are sending out very late scouts, so one or both of them might actually not even get in. Looks like Jangbi will get in. He's scouting first, and Nada going clockwise. Clockwise again. Is going to scout last. It might not even get into Jangbi's base, which is going to hurt him quite significantly if there's a Dragoon blocking the ramp.
Yeah, we've seen this before from Nada. Every time he seems to scout clockwise. How come nobody can get that right? I don't know. He never seems to scout the right direction is my point, I guess. And either way, Jangbi's going to get a very quick scout on him. He's going to see exactly what's going up. He's going to be able to have a chance to harass that SCV that he did oh so well last time. And already that SCV down to half of its health. And really, Nada's got to be careful, because if he's not, I mean, he's trying to repair here at the same time. He's also trying to attack and defend. Now he gets that Marine out. So, really, Nada can't get delayed anymore if he wants to really stay in these games. We saw that when he gets delayed, I wouldn't say that he comes off his game. He just, Jangbi is so on top of his game that he capitalizes on it, and he manages to take the win, or he did in the past games where he did that. And now we are seeing quick one-gate cybernetics core tech coming from Jangbi. He's going for that quick range on his goons. Because I don't see anything else coming from him quite yet, I'm going to assume that he's going to go for a fast expansion. He's also now going in for some harassment. With only 3 Marines to protect, that's going to be enough, at least until that goon gets there, and it's going to take a while for that goon to get there. So you'll have a 4th Marine out at that time, and soon to be most likely a tank to try to defend this.
Yeah, it looks like some early pressure coming out of Jangbi, and while he's doing that, he's getting goon range and probably going to try to attack. Now, this would be very hard for Nada to go ahead and defend, as I said earlier. This high ground is just so nice for the Protoss to really put a lot of harassment in on the Terran early game. Now the tank is coming out, I expect, and I would think that Nada's going for mines with that researching. So if he can micro these Marines just right, hold this off a little bit, I think he'll be just fine. Still producing Marines, as we saw him do in the first game, to really hold off this early pressure. I think that's a great idea. He just needs to get that tank out, and I think he'll be safe to move into some sort of late game. He still does have 3 SCVs on gas, so it looks like he hasn't quite moved into showing us the early expansion yet, probably to hide that from Jangbi, but we really don't know yet. Now he's moving Jangbi back. Jangbi does have a second Dragoon out, though, so it's going to be interesting if he's going to try to snipe that tank or if he's going to just kind of hang out, make sure nothing gets out of Nada's base. And the third Dragoon showing up now, so this could do a lot of damage. Azella moving in right now is really critical. Here comes the Vulture, and I don't know if mines have been completely researched, and they have, so it looks like Jangbi is going to have to back off for the meanwhile, while Nada sets up perhaps his expansion.
Yeah, I think Nada should be fine here. It looks like, oh, almost. I thought that was a mine, actually. Looks like Nada's actually going to plant that barracks down just to act as a little bit of a block there, and that's going to stop Jangbi from really making any more inroads into his base. Has Jangbi expanded is the question, or else... Oh! Wow, nice Dragoon micro there. Very nice reaction timing. Or maybe he did that on purpose. But regardless, if Jangbi lets himself take an economic disadvantage again, and that would be really bad. Now, Nada actually is going to let that barracks go down, it seems. He's repairing with all 3 SCVs, but it's not enough. That barracks goes down. That's going to slow him down significantly with only 1 factory up right now. That was a little bit of a blunder by Nada, I got to say. And looks like Jangbi is going to expand, so he's not going to let himself get behind like he did the last game. And, oh! Looks like Jangbi just running in there and picking off the SCV, building the barracks. So this could be actually a significant factor in the game. The fact that Nada doesn't have a barracks anymore and he can't build a factory. So Nada actually right now could be in a bit of trouble against just pure Dragoons. It's just showing, oh, and never mind, Nada is finally done with siege mode. So now he is going to be safe, at least for now. Robotics facility now going up for Jangbi.
And I got to say, it looks like Nada's a little bit off his game. If you look at his main base, he didn't have any SCVs mining. He only had like 6 mining there, not many at his expansion either. He's all over the place trying to defend against Jangbi's early pressure, and Jangbi just doing a great job with it. I mean, Jangbi in the meantime has obviously secured his natural expansion. It was secure because Nada never had a chance to even get out of his base, let alone keep a barracks from burning down. So really, I didn't expect Jangbi to be able to get that, and now it looks like Jangbi is considering putting down his second expansion, going to go for a quick double expansion against the single expansion of Nada, which is certainly somewhat standard and a good idea, especially because I feel like Nada is a little bit behind at this point with the little amount of SCVs that he's got mining at his base. And I don't know if it's because Jangbi was throwing him off with his pressure or what, but it seems like he got inside Nada's head a little bit. Now we're going to see Reavers coming out as a robotic support bay is being built. So certainly that means that the shuttle is about to pop out, and we're going to see some Reaver harassment, although Nada is appearing to be very prepared for this early on. It looks like he's pre-prepared for it, already having units back at his base. But again, look at this. He's not building SCVs at one of his command centers. I don't know if he was cutting SCVs, but more likely it looks like he was just off his macro a little bit. And I got to say, that has me a little worried for Nada early on. Maybe it's a sign of things to come.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Nada was a little bit blundered by that early pressure put on by Jangbi, which really is hard to deal with as Terran when you're trying to get everything set. But one thing this does trigger is kind of the turtle mode from Terran, knowing they're behind. And as you can see, Jangbi using the range of those Dragoons to snipe away at that turtle a little bit. But like I was saying earlier, Nada really is going into kind of a turtle mode right now when they have so much pressure put on them early game. 1 of 2 reactions can come out of the Terran. They can either go into this completely defensive style Terran, really try to macro up and make sure they can get back up to the kind of that economic lead that the Protoss has on them, or they go ultra offensive, kind of all in, try to take back that disadvantage they had from the beginning. But it looks like Nada is going to sit back and try to hold off his main, hold off his natural, make sure no damage is done at all, and move into some of those late upgrades that we saw in the first game of this series, and really just try to out macro and outmaneuver his large group of units against Jangbi. So hopefully he can do that. Otherwise, Jangbi is in a very, very nice position right now, sitting on his 2 bases and almost his 3rd.
I mean, this is the difference between the first game and the fifth game, which we're seeing right now. It's that Jangbi chose to expand much earlier. He didn't decide to try to crack the Terran. That is a smart decision not to do it, because a good defensive player like Nada can be is just impossible for the Protoss to crack. I mean, they have to be so absolutely perfect with their Reaver Micro and their timing. Otherwise, they're just going to totally fail. And Jangbi failed in the first game with his harassment, and hence he was just behind the entire game. This time, he's not behind. It's Nada who's going to fall behind. Now, the thing is, if Nada waits until he gets the +1, +2 timing attack, he is going to be way behind in terms of unit count. He might just wait himself to death if he decides to wait until then. On the other hand, if he goes for a faster rush, he could still catch Jangbi before Jangbi gets his tech up. So it's going to be all about timing. As we know, StarCraft is a lot about timing. You know, you have players like 4GG, for example, who are famous for their timing attacks. And never mind, Jangbi going down, going to get some shots off on the tank. Looks like the tank almost goes down. Zealot being dropped, obviously, and then a Reaver. It looks like shuttle speed has been finished for Jangbi. So he might be thinking about going in for a kamikaze bomb there into Nada's base. Also, a Citadel of Dune going up. So Jangbi this time is going to get his storms most likely much earlier than the last game.
And on the same token, Nada is not going for that drop tech. He's not going for the harassments, which I gotta say didn't necessarily work all that well against Jangbi in the first game, but it's one of those things where it kept him on his toes, it kept moving around, kept him concentrating on his units, maybe not his macro, get him off his macro a little bit somehow, but instead, Nada is completely focused on being a just turtle terror and trying to get as much macro done as possible. In the meantime, Jangbi seems to be well prepared. He's also in pretty good position relative to Nada, even if Nada were to go drops. But again, Nada's not doing that, so it's not even a concern of his at this point. And now Goliaths are coming out. I don't know if it's because he anticipates storms or maybe he's just trying to deal with the Reaver and the shuttle. But either way, it looks like Nada is trying to get some anti-air or anti-tech air out right away. Well, all air is tech, I guess. But either way, he's trying to defend against it with his Goliaths. And look at this. It looks like he's deciding to try to do exactly what he did in the last game. Push out, secure that second expansion. But one of the things that he had last game was he was much more even in terms of getting that second expansion up and running when Jangbi got his second up. And now Jangbi sees this happening, of course, and he's going to go for his third expansion to make sure he stays ahead. Also, the Templar Archives is down at this point, and he's got, I believe he's got 3 gas. I think he only took gas expansion. So
yeah.
Jangbi's going to be able to pump out these Templars without much of a problem and really make use of those tech units. Where we even saw it, he didn't have many Templar last game when he did fight Nada on this same map, but when he did get those Templar out, he did have good storms. So, you know, he's certainly on the game in terms of that. He's always got to do is ensure that he's got the units to do it, and he'll be all set.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, one thing to note, though, is that another expansion, the mineral only, I believe, I couldn't see there, it might actually be a gas expansion, is going up right now for Jangbi. So Jangbi really going for this economic advantage. It looks like he's going to just try to send a whole bunch of Zealots in these shuttles. 2 Reavers going off. Are those Scarabs going to be able to hit these SCVs? They did dodge, so no SCV kills. But it looks like a lot of tanks and vultures might go down to this. This is a really powerful drop. Jangbi trying to do some extreme damage. He looks like he might be trying to target the armory to get rid of those upgrades that are going on for Nada. That could be a huge factor in the late game here. Nada was trying to take that third, but if his upgrades aren't there, that could be horrible. And it looks like Jangbi's going to count his losses right now and just back out. But that did the damage it needed to. He killed a tank. He killed a few vultures. He pulled the SCVs off of mining from the main. Did a lot of damage to the buildings. Really, that's what Jangbi's looking to do, is take little advantages at a time, really just macro up and overpower Nada. Now, I wouldn't count Nada out of this yet, though. If he can move quickly here, get his large timing attack ready, and make a move shortly before those Templars and before those high-tech units storm out, he might be able to get back into this. As you see, he's putting up his 4th command center right now, so it wouldn't count him out of it quite yet, because he does have a sizable force and is securing that 4th. And again, another shuttle coming in. Is it going to be able to get a lot of SCVs? Oh my god, they're not moving! And it looks like, is that Scarab going to dud right in front of all the SCVs? He's dumping again. They're all clumped up. Oh my god. So no SCVs going down, man. That is unfortunate for Red Nada. Or for Jangbi,
actually,
more like.
I would disagree. I don't think Jangbi did enough damage with these drops. He spent a lot going for this, and this time he might be able to do a little more damage. Is he going to get lucky this time? No! He's going to dud again! Oh no, it doesn't dud. He got a couple this time. Where Nada's Goliaths, I wonder, though. It looks like Jangbi might be going for an attack on the front, though. Maybe. He's definitely pulled Nada left and right. Now, Nada, the problem is he's not losing SCVs, but he's certainly having to focus. And, oh, man, that Reaver has only one sliver of health left, but now it's actually doing damage. How ironic. When there was like 1 billion units in the base, they didn't do anything. But now, when there's just one shuttle with one almost dead Reaver, it's causing calamity in Nada's base. And now, a fleet beacon going up. This is really interesting. Will Nada spot this on time? I don't know. Now, Jangbi did get that armory down, so Nada is still going to have those early upgrades, and early upgrades are very important against fighting carriers, and it looks like this shuttle is going to go down now. No, shuttle doesn't even go down. Shuttle goes down. So finally, this terror of these Reavers is going to end. Now, the thing is, some people say the third resource is focus, and Nada has not been focusing on his front at this moment, and Jangbi is going to go in.
And here we see the panty-wetting storms. They're going up all over the tanks.
Oh, man.
Wow, there are huge clumps over here. Nada is not being very good with his tanks over here. Too many clumps. Those storms are taking a lot of tanks out at once. Jangbi has done his damage. Now he's going to back off. He's going to regroup. He's going to get his units back together. Probably get some more Templar together. Although, no, he's got 3 starports, so he's going to focus probably only on carriers, except for maybe Dragoon and Zealot support under him. I don't know if he'll have enough gas to be able to support any Templar. It looks like he's also getting upgrades for those carriers, so they're going to be very powerful when he does manage to mass them out. And Nada, look at Nada. Nada Goliath on the field for Nada is what's going on right now, and he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He's trying to put down some spider mines, but no, Jangbi is on top of it. He's preventing Nada from moving out. Nada is he's on a ramp. He's stuck in a little bit of an awkward position, and Jangbi just doing a great job of keeping him on his heels, and Nada not able to get that new expansion up and running as he's trying to float it over at this point now. He may finally secure it, but Jangbi is now very far ahead at this point, as he's got, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases at this point, and he's going carriers, a tech switch that Nada does not appear to be ready
doesn't know
for,
it's there.
Yeah, he's going to be in a ton of trouble. He's getting his second armory down, but again, oh, look at that. He's getting an upgrade, so he may have just scouted it. It could have been Charon boosters. I'm not entirely sure at this point, but that's generally the only upgrade that's left later in the game for trying to get from the machine shop. So it appears that he may have scouted at this point. I can't tell off the first-person view of Nada, though, if he has the starports in his scan. It looked like he did get a fresh scan off over there. And again, storm drop. Oh, over not a large group of SUVs, but not really doing as much damage as I thought he was going to do, but definitely good guerrilla tactics here. And Nada going to try to defend up a little bit over here, get some D up, some turrets up to prevent this from happening. And Jangbi, as soon as those carriers come out, man, I think we're going to see some crazy game right there.
Yeah, really, I think Nada needed to seize the moment. Although he lost a lot of tanks to those storms, he still had a sizable army, and he really was able to see all of Jangbi's army. He should have seized the moment and moved now. I think he has scanned the carriers as he's pumping out all Goliaths and those, you did see the upgrade going for the range on the Goliath. So really, he needed to seize that moment, and now he's going to have to play some defensive game, not lose these expansions. He needs to do some damage fast. He needs to move Jangbi back and make it so Jangbi isn't able to just size up his army again, because when carriers mix with that just ultra deadly Protoss ball of units, Dragoons, a few Templars, and maybe a lot of Zealots, it looks like, it's just so bad, man. And you can see Jangbi's doing what a lot of players do when they go for this sizable carrier army, which is just offensively expo everywhere, which is really deadly because it makes the Terran not know where to go. He either has to go straight for the gut, or he has to go for their expansions. If he goes for the expansions, then Jangbi just puts up another one and keeps his money going while he moves this huge army in and losing lots of Zealots there to mines. But here come the fleet of carriers. Is Nada going to be able to defend this? I don't know. This is a really open area, but carriers do have that cliff to work with. Jangbi just needs to be very careful, hold on to this lead he's got, and I think he may have the game, guys.
Well, he's definitely trying to expand like it. What Nada needs to do on the, the counter is to try to basically get small groups of forces at each of these Protoss expansions, attacking them, because the Protoss carriers are only strong when they're clumped together. They're not strong when they can't really be divided, because then a Goliath force will easily defeat each of them. And the Terran needs to basically win on the ground and then hold in the air. They can't expect to really get air superiority, but if they can kill some of this ground force, then their tanks and vultures can kill off expansions. But it looks like Jangbi is going to just keep trying to pull Nada's forces into a clump. He's not going to let Nada split up his forces and try to attack in multiple spots, and that's very smart from Jangbi. I'm not sure if this is a great map for carriers, to be honest. The middle of the map is wide open, and if Nada can get a critical mass of Goliaths, I could still see him coming back from this and just beating Jangbi, because there's no way he can't really walk across the middle. But if Jangbi manages to get 9 or 11 carriers, at that point he might have that critical mass that if he doesn't lose his main army, he's just going to win the game. There's no way that Nada will be able to deal with it. Nada looks like he's finally ready for his attack. He's got 2/2 upgrades. He is going to have an upgrade advantage, and that could be enough. I don't know. This is going to come down to this push. Is he going to be able to do it?
Well, he does certainly have a very large force. I mean, both players with a very large force. So the question is, oh, well, look at that, an Archon forming in the back of Nada's base. Carriers at the expansion, they're going to take out the tanks. They may also get the command center. It looks as if they focus on it, they may actually be able to take it out. And no, it looks like he is going to try to take it out. There are a couple of SCVs trying to repair it, but the carriers are doing a lot of damage, doing a lot of Goliaths there. It's going to come down to the wire. There are 4 SCVs repaired, 5 SCVs. No, it looks like it's going to stay up, and now the Goliaths are just taking out interceptors left and right, and the interceptor count is going to start to dwindle here. So Nada will actually get a slow advantage here. Look at this. In the meantime, we're seeing a big battle forming in the middle. No, Jangbi decides to pull back. He's going to wait for those carriers to reinforce. That carrier force plus the ground units is very dangerous, but there are so many tanks out on the ground plus Goliaths. We're seeing a very incredible use of unit composition from both players. Also a shuttle in the mix. I can only imagine that there are Templar in there at the same time. And look at this. Jangbi is a little bit pincered almost by Nada. He's decided to go around the left side where the tank force is actually weaker. Storm's going down, not catching too many units, but he's going to get another Storm. He's going to catch another couple of Goliaths. At the same time, he's basically split Nada off. Oh, great Storms over there at this point over all the Goliaths. He's going to split Nada off. He's going to be able to attack that expansion. At the same time, he's got the carriers out there. He's really going to hold Nada back. Nada tried to come around from the bottom side at the same time to attack the carriers, but it looks like Nada is missing Goliaths. Where are they? Did they get caught in the storms? I'm not really sure. And at this point, it looks like Jangbi may take out that expansion. I don't think that Nada is going to be able to take care of that expansion in time, while the carriers are continuing to micro perfectly. And storms going off even on more Goliaths, and I don't know if Nada is going to be able to support. Oh my God! Storms all over the SCVs, and they're all gone. Nada is in a lot of trouble, taking heavy losses.
No,
here.
Jangbi's in trouble, man. Jangbi's in trouble. Jangbi's in trouble. I'm telling you, Jangbi's the one in trouble.
The one thing to note, though, right now is that
Jangbi got no army.
Jangbi does not have an army. He is going all in with these carriers, man. You do not know if Nada's able to move up the front. This could be huge. Nada's got a sizable force, man. We don't know. I think Nada might have been able to hold on to this. If he can move up now, take out this main, it could be all over. Nada was just able to multitask so amazingly, man. I can't believe he held on there. I just can't believe what's going on right now. If Nada actually takes this game, this could be one of the greatest comebacks of 2009 that we've seen so far. Really, Jangbi going all in with those carriers, upgrading them 3 starports. So really, he's just going all out, man. I think that Nada, if he can hang on to this, put some good damage onto these expos and deter these carriers, he might be able to take this game.
Well, I mean, I'm saying this map is not good for carriers. I am dead serious when I say that. It is bad for carriers, and we're seeing it just now because when Nada wants to take an expansion, he's forcing Jangbi to walk into him with his carriers right into the teeth of these very well upgraded Goliaths. And this is not a Katrina, guys. I don't know. I mean, Nada's going to lose his expansion here, but is he going to be able to kill off these carriers? I don't know. Actually, Jangbi might actually win. I don't even know. Jangbi, oh man, Nada's going to lose his mining expansion though, so this could be, I really don't know. I still think Nada has the advantage though. Nada with just a lot of forces still coming out, despite the fact that he's lost one of his expansions now. He's mining from just one base, but looks like Jangbi now is building some DTs to counter these tanks. I still don't know how this game's going to end.
I gotta say, man, I still think Jangbi's in the lead. I think that he had the carriers, but guess what? He didn't lose any carriers, and while he lost a lot of ground forces, he doesn't have to spend money on carriers. He's only spending money on ground forces and interceptors, which, guess what, only costs minerals. And look at those, more storms coming out. His spell control is amazing. He's got like 8 carriers, maybe more. I can't even count them all at once that quickly. But don't forget that Jangbi's got the only expansion that he lost had no minerals left, so he didn't really take big losses
he
there.
went for the wrong
he still
one.
has the other 2 mining expansions, and now he knows exactly where to hit Nada, and Nada has already lost. And look at his face. Nada knows that he's in a ton of trouble right now. I can only imagine his APM is only about 300
GG!
instead of a million. And GG coming from Nada. So wow,
man,
Jangbi moving on to the next round. Quality game right there.
Yeah, really quality game. I gotta say, Nada, man, he really was dedicated to holding those expansions. I think he just may have waited a bit too long, and the carrier numbers got too great. The upgrades on those carriers got too big, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and just overwhelmed him. And you can see Nada's shattered, and that's not a thing I like to see at all, man. Nada is my main Terran favorite guy, and that's a sad scene to see. He fought his heart out against one of the best Protoss vs. Terran players there is right now, so it's kind of sad, man. So really sad to see, but great games by him overall.
Wow, I am really sad, not only because my predictions were wrong at the end, which were totally wrong, although I do think that it was closer than, it was much closer than we thought it was. I thought the game was almost entirely in Jangbi's favor. When Nada broke out, that was very spectacular. However, Jangbi did the right thing. Instead of just focusing on carriers, he built some ground forces, which are much better, of course, than Nada's Goliaths. And, you know, Jangbi is the best PvT player out there. He's 70% PvT. So for the fact that Nada has managed to get it to a Game 5 and make it so close, I gotta say this is a moral victory for Nada in the end for me. Even if he's just totally crushed right now.
I really thought that they both played a great game, and I really do feel bad for Nada as well. He is visibly crying, very upset. It's not just his eyes watering from a long game. He is upset. He thought he was going to win that game, so great effort by him, and GG.